Welcome to yet another conversation on our Thursday evening on the Wesley Guild SA Facebook platform. Welcome. Today we have a wonderful conversation that we're going to talk about, especially after the rise of the many, after the pandemic, but also the rise of the many financial crises that different countries find themselves in. So I find that many people are hoping and dreaming of living in different countries. So this evening we have two couples, my personal friends and brothers and sisters whom I love dearly, to come and talk to us and tell us about the pleasures of living overseas. But we know that it's not, I'm sure that it's not always great. There are pros and cons, and I'm hoping that they will be able to tell us both the good, the bad, and the ugly, but also give us some pointers to say, since I want to live in Switzerland, guys, like give me pointers to say, what can we do to go and live in Switzerland? So friends, before I introduce our friends, I ask that you close your eyes wherever you are, and so that we can invoke the Holy Spirit in prayer. Unless if you are driving, please, if you're driving, don't close your eyes, just continue driving. Let us pray. Let us pray. Mudimu wa maloba, mudimu wa humbije no mudimu wa busakudli. Heavenly Father, we come before your throne of grace, giving you thanks, bringing all the glory and the honor to you because you are God. We thank you, Lord, for your grace and mercy of waking us up this morning to be able to enter into this conversation of creating opportunities for your people, your children, to be able to live wherever their hearts may desire them to live. Heavenly Father, I bring your children, Trevor, Lisasa, I bring your children, Robert and Tabiseng, to the foot of your throne to guide their tongue, their hearts, their minds, and their thoughts as they share with us their experiences about living abroad in comparison with living in this wonderful country of ours, the Republic of Southern Africa. Heavenly Father, we thank you that you continue to be no one and nothing else but God. Who else can we run to, and who else can we rely on if we don't rely on you as God? Because there is no other God than you. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this platform. We thank you for the opportunities that you create and you make for us in order to connect from different walks of life, from all the corners of the world. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
So Amen. I need to start with a disclaimer. It is now 6 o'clock. Well, just before 6 o'clock in South Africa, and it is almost midnight where Robert and Tabiseng are joining us from. They are now in Malaysia. I am very jealous that they live in a place, like a holiday place, where you just work with flip-flops and shorts. So, Bra Rob and Austin Tabiseng, thank you so much for making the time, for waking up, after 11, just to be able to enter into this conversation with us. We don't take it for granted. We really, really do appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
So let us now enter into the conversation. I would Trevor, Dumela,
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well, thank you. It is so nice to always be on this platform. It's almost like my friends are coming into my workplace, So it is so nice to always host friends and learn and educate the masses about different topics. So I would travel out, Sasa. Please introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are, where you are, and where in the world were you living or are you living?
Okay, I'll let the head of my house start introducing himself so I can follow suit.
Hallelujah.
Okay, my name is Trevor Mokadi. I was raised and born and raised in Soweto, so I'm a Soweto boy and very proud. I also, have experience in engineering and in supply chain and also in mining. And basically I ended up in China because of my activities in that space. And this is the experience that I'll be sharing with you today.
Thank you.
On that note, I am Sasa Mokadi. I'm also born and bred in Soweto. Come from Dobsonville, but now I live in Pretoria. Trevor and I have 3 gorgeous kids, all teenagers now. I'm in the space of health. What got us to China, so we'll be speaking about that further on. And yes,
thank you so much. You know, I always say to people, before I get to you, Robert, I always say to people, when I have my my qualification, PhD, even my mother is going to call me doctor. And Limbora Hore, Sasa, you need to tell people that you are Dr. Sasa Mokadi. You are not just, you work very hard, friend. We worked hard because I was studying, you know, by association.
I agree. I am Dr. Mokadi and in the hematopathologist space.
Thank you. Rob, please introduce yourselves and tell our listeners who you are and where you come from.
Thank you. Start, Magdalene.
Hi, my name is N Mkhwanazi. I was born and bred in Limpopo, Zebediela. Then I grew up in Brongospruit and I got married in Sojakuve to Mr. Robert Mkhwanazi. And we have 2 beautiful girls, Ipileng and Ritumiti. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Robert, but on my ID, my names are Molakhehi Robert Mkhwanazi, born and bred and battered in Soshanguve, Pretoria. I'm a Wesley Guild I'm a Methodist church member from birth, and I'm a boy that grew up in Soshanguve, hardworking boy, determined, driven. I started working for Department of International Relations and Cooperation, that was formerly known as Department of Foreign Affairs, in 2004, and for the past, I think 16 years or so, I was based in head office until I applied for posting when we are posted abroad to one of our missions that we call embassy or high commissions. Then you come there and you represent South Africa abroad. So basically that is the role that I'm playing in Malaysia. I'm the first secretary administrator in the South African High Commission in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I was going to be saying, we're not just like us, you found yourself from Malaysia because no Lerato.
Yeah, Lerato, yes.
But you know, it's not a bad thing for someone who's married. It is an absolute honor and such a joy when married people support each other's dreams. Because that is exactly what marriage is about. It's about, you know, la tellalana. And when somebody's career is thriving, you are mutella, and then when the roles are reversed, so it is a wonderful thing to see. So, Awitrava, you said that you found yourself in China because of your engineering and mining experience. What happened? What happened? How?
Yes. So at the time, I was working for Anglo-American. And you know, Anglo is a big exporter of commodities globally, but also we're selling a lot of commodities at the time to China and still do, I think. And there was an issue of a balance of trade conversation around us having to procure Chinese goods in order to try to balance what they source from us. So I was sent there to basically be part of the procurement office in China and basically guide the strategy and process of acquiring as much equipment as possible from China. So I remember, you know, when I came home to inform or to discuss this with my wife, it was quite a very interesting conversation because I think first you couldn't believe that China, you know, China, are you serious, China, you know? China. Oh.
Yes.
Roger, no.
Yes.
We'll make a plan. So it was a very nicely guided process. So the first thing that we did was the information gathering. So we went on a number of intelligence trips to China to try source as much information as possible, because this was a family move, not an individual move. So we had to learn basic Mandarin, you know, like ni hao, jin tian hao ma, and all those basics, and be able to check the accommodation, be able to check if we can find the foodstuffs that we're used to, check the schools for the kids, and check that the whole environment is sort of livable and close to what we can try to sort of manage. And after, I think, a few trips, and my wife is a soldier, by the way, you know, so she said, Trevor, this is nothing, man. We can do this. We can do this, you know. And yes, and we went. And I think the biggest challenge when we arrived became the language. I remember, and this is a joke, I remember when we first moved into the house there in China, it was not well prepared, it was very dirty, and there were a lot of mosquitoes there. And they were biting the kids, and we didn't know what to do because, you know, we didn't have Doom and those kind of things with us. So the first task that I had to do was to go buy Doom. And as you can imagine, I went to the sort of spaza shop type of shop in China, and I had to order Doom. And to my shock, the guy there couldn't even speak a word of English. So I started trying to say, you know, there's this. And the guy nearly fell off his chair laughing at me. And as I did that, he also started doing that. I must say, hey, man, I'm serious, man. I need to know this thing for the mosquitoes. So we struggled until we found a meeting point, and luckily I could get my Doom. So this is just an illustration of how basic it gets, and you become like a child again, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then the second step was the culture shock. So we sort of found ourselves by sort of alone. So, and you know, in South Africa at the moment, there's this craze about foreigners having to go home, and we are South Africans and they are foreigners and so on. So when you get into international space, you become part of the international African diaspora.
Yes.
And you are no longer now a South African. You are now an African.
Yes.
And the Chinese and everybody else in the world treats you as such. And you have to now participate in the groupings. You have to participate in the society, basically the African society that exists outside of South Africa. And you can imagine this kind of feedback that Operation Dudula or these things are doing these things to foreigners, what sort of pressure it puts you having to survive with others that are exactly like you but come from different places, you know. So for me, I think one issue for us was fitting in this African diaspora, because you realize that you're an African. And I remember my boy at the time, Kanasaski Litabo was how old?
Litabo was just turned 4. He just turned 4. By the way, he's 15 now.
Oh.
Yeah.
It just turned 4.
Yeah, and Litabo started going around pointing at every African guy he can see. Hey, Daddy, there's one of us. There's one of us.
Oh.
There's one. Call him, say hi to him, you know. He's one of us. So even the child at 4 could see that, hey, you know, I belong to this tribe, you know, of people that are the chocolate people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I mustn't take all the time. Then there was the spiritual aspects of it, because, you know, when you get to China, you realize that not everybody is Christian, and Christianity was not sort of viewed in a positive light generally by the government there. So from coming from a place where you could worship freely, you found yourself sort of in an awkward space, worshiping under a little bit of difficulty. And again, you had to sort of fit in with communities that are like you, and find space and make arrangements to fellowship, you know, with the others. So Saskia, I think I can pass the baton to you now.
Yeah. So in terms of, I mean, Trevor has alluded to why we went to China, and obviously it was his job, and me leaving my hectic schedule to be a housewife my goodness, I didn't think I would survive that. I didn't even think I would fit into this housewife thing. But phew, I enjoyed it. Really did enjoy it. And, you know, one thing for me, I mean, Trevor's talked about the culture shock. It was like day and night, you know. You come home, you come from South Africa where you're liberal to moving anywhere and everywhere you want. And all of a sudden there are a little bit of constraints. And I must point out that Trevor and I didn't drive there. We had a driver, a permanent driver, but can you imagine in the beginning when we couldn't speak Mandarin, having to direct the driver where to go, where to turn, which shop I want, what I needed. It was a bit of a challenge. And but we got on. I learned Mandarin. I still do speak a bit of Mandarin. And coming to church, you know, that was the one thing that softened the blow of being a foreigner in that space. You know, Sundays, we looked forward to this, going into that space where we thought people were like us. I mean, it was multinational kind of people they gathering, and a few Chinese were allowed to come there only because they held the foreign passport. If you didn't have a foreign passport as a Chinese person, you were not allowed to participate in church, Christian church services. So yeah, it was, you know, it was great, you know, finding those kind of communities when you are like almost like on your own. So those kind of communities really uplifted you, you know. And another thing is that the schools themselves, that side, the kids all went to the international schools, but my little ones at that time when they started were in a bilingual school, predominantly Chinese, and it was a little bit tough for them, but eventually they got onto the international school. But, you know, the communities in the international schools, you know, you get exposed to all these different organizations. I particularly belonged to the ANZA, which is an Australian New Zealand association. Oh my goodness, the things we got up to there, you know. I never thought I would be this person doing the, what is it? How about when you fundraising things, you know, this is actually a master in fundraising for getting, and by the way, I have a profession. It was good to be there, fundraising, having horse. My love, remind me again, those horse riding things like the Durban July. Yes.
The Melbourne Race Cup.
Yes,
And
Melbourne Cup.
And
so,
I told you to bet and ring bet.
Sorry, clearly I made him, I lost his fortune because he asked me on one, so this event was an annual event, at the horse racing kind of event, like your Durban July and all that. So he gave me a number to bet on this horse. Yeah. And it was so nice there. I forgot to bet. And the horse actually won. My goodness, I apologized so much profusely. But it was my event. So my people were there. So the betting was not my thing.
Oh, wow. No, but it seems as if there was almost like a multitude of feelings. You know, there was almost like a melting pot of experiences there. And if I may ask, how long were you guys in China for?
We were there for 3 years, 3 solid years there. And yeah, my love, you want to elaborate on it?
No, I think we can come back to that and your stay. Now let's go to Robert Lintabiseng to tell us about where you are and how you got there.
Thank you. Should I start? Yes. Great. We are in Malaysia. The city that we are situated is Kuala Lumpur, in Malaysia. We arrived here on the 4th of March, 2021. And after we have arrived, the country went to the second lockdown in June. So we stayed in the hotel for 2 months.
2 months, yes.
2 solid months. And also like Bratrevale, Ausasa, it was hectic. Because when we arrived in Malaysia, we had to go to quarantine. So we were in quarantine for 14 days. Then after that, you go to hospital, they must test you and declare you that you are COVID ready for the country. 14
days, every 3 days.
Yeah, so in that 14 days, the first time when you arrive at the airport, you are subjected to this bureaucracy. And when we travel, you know, we were fortunate because we are using diplomatic passports. I always tell, there's this friends that we are having in Malaysia, they always say, when we travel with you guys, when we go to the queues, you guys go to the and more privileged line than ours. So we thought that we are VIP, but when we got here, we saw that VIP does not work here in Malaysia. We were all subjected to the same line, to the same bureaucracy. Then when we arrived, we had to test. And then after that, you stand in a long queue. So the process after we have refueled the plane, we were in the airport for 3 hours, going through that process of bureaucracy in the airport only. After 3 hours, that's when they allowed us to come outside to meet our fellow colleagues that came to welcome us. Then we arrived, and when we traveled, we came with the whole family, our 2 kids. And yeah, after that, we were taken to the hotel, quarantine for 14 days. And in that 14 days, the first 5 days, you go to clinic, you test. The second 5 days after, that is 10 days, you go and test. Then after 14, on the 14th day, you go. Then you are declared that you're okay. Then after it was a cultural shock, like what Brother Trevor is saying. The city is different. Big skyscrapers, big buildings, hectic roadways, different. I always say the person that designed the town plan of the city, they must be drunk, because you'll get 2 lanes going same direction, but they'll build 2 bridges. One goes left, one goes right. But in South Africa, we build one, then we do like a T-junction. But here, they like cement. I always say they like cement because they just build every day. So yeah, after that, yeah, now after 3 weeks or so, I had to go to work. Now, you must realize, Sililo, here is very hot, man. Very, very hot. So I'm from the background where I wear a suit every day. I remember first day I wear my suit. From the hotel halfway to work, because where I was staying is like 1 kilometer to work. Halfway to work, like 500 meters, I was sweating. I was like sweating. Then I learned on that day that, Robert, suit, you only wear it on occasional. So on a normal day, I'll wear just my formal trouser, formal shirt, and just hope to work. So yeah, that's the beauty of Kuala Lumpur. And again, the city or the country is very humid. So it rains a lot. There's mosquitoes, like what Travis alluded, but the mosquitoes are very small. You can't hear them. You know, the South African mosquito, I always say, is very traumatizing because it warns you that I'm coming for you. The ones that we're having there is like silent killer, huh? And tomorrow you will start to scratch yourself, you know. But yeah, the city is a very beautiful city. Now, again, the cultural shock, when you go to the mall, yeah, now you can't, when you try to express yourself that you want whatever, then it's like they don't hear you, you know?
Yeah, so I remember I used to Google something, and then when I go to the shop, I have to show them the picture that, hey, I'm looking for this. Because when you speak English, they don't understand English. They speak Bahasa.
Yeah. So in Malaysia, they speak Bahasa or Malay. And again, that Bahasa, it has other dialect into it also. But we realized very quickly that the city that we are in is not is a very upmarket. When you go to the malls, you will be able to get other people in the malls. Now, we also have we went through that same thing, Brother Trevor, that when you see other Black people, we are like, hey, those looks like, you know, our brothers and sisters. I remember the first time we went to the mall, we saw these 3 Zimbabwean ladies, you know, and my wife and my kids were so happy because they were like, yo, so those ladies, they did beautiful braids and whatever. So my wife said to them, I want you to come and braid me because I know that I was going to face a problem. And yeah, I mean, after arriving, starting work, then you realize that, you know, you are working for the highest office, I mean, South African High Commission, South African Embassy. Then on a daily basis, people come, hey, I want to renew my passport. Hey, I want to have, maybe you'll find somebody misplaced the children's birth certificate, can I apply for it? But what I always say, like my main job is to run the embassy. So I'm the guy that, you know, run everything in the embassy. I make sure that we get money from South Africa. I make sure that we pay salaries. I make sure that we pay for rentals, for our offices, electricity, and all these things. So my job is very hectic, and my wife Shem had to adjust to my stressful job because sometimes, like, you know, lately I'll come home around 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is like 11 o'clock in South Africa. Then I'll, you know, arrive home, then maybe around 6:30 or 6 o'clock, I'll eat supper. Around 8 o'clock, that is 2 o'clock, I'll go to sleep because I'm tired. But around 12 o'clock this time, I'm awake again because, you know, the stress, the pressure you feel, or okay, hey, there's something that, you know, I must attend to tomorrow morning, deadlines from head office. And now this 6 hours difference, is really bad because when I knock off at 4 o'clock, that is 10 o'clock in South Africa, people are starting to, you know, adjust to the day in head office in Pretoria. Then tomorrow you get influx of emails, do this, do that, you know. So I ended up, you know, requesting this laptop, you know. So from time to time, even if I knock off on Friday, normally on Fridays we knock off at 1 o'clock, I'll come home and switch on the laptop because you'll be shocked, but you'll get emails, tweeting, you know, and people will want things from you, but only to find out when you have knocked off, and, you know, and even now, our friends, we have to explain, even the family, that 6 hours before, 6 hours ahead, 6 hours ahead, you know. But yeah, I mean, we are enjoying ourselves. Our kids are going through the Australian International School. It's like the same, they have the same syllabus like South Africa, the same calendar like South Africa from January to December. And it's an international school. So our kids had to adjust to attend the school with Chinese and all sorts of people in the world. And you realize when you are in an international country, Australia, that, you know what, really is so beautiful, you know, to go out of that comfort zone of South Africa, you know, and be somewhere. Then yeah, you'll get those challenges where, you know, people are treating you differently. I mean, I always fight with people, and my wife always says to me, Robert, you'll never win this, because initially I took things personally when people do, you know, like here, when we are African kids, when you meet somebody, you greet. But here, greeting is not an issue. If they don't know you, they'll not even greet you. They'll just go, whatever say, they'll just go to the question, you understand? So for me in the beginning, I took it very personally, right? Like, what's happening here? But now I've adjusted to it, that, you know, there's other people that they'll just go straight to whatever that they want to ask you. And then when you have to adjust yourself, you know, after, you know. But yeah, so far so good, my dear sister. Let me pause for now. Yes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I think I'm getting the sense that the transition is not the easiest when you leave South Africa and going to a foreign country. So Asin Thabisang, how was it for you having to literally, like Osasa, leave your life and follow your husband? Was it an easy decision to make, or you were like, yo,
No. It's not easy leaving your country and, you know, family and go to another country. But with me, I've been knowing this thing, I think 10 years ago.
Yeah,
10 years ago, that there's a possibility. And another thing, I've been praying for it. So now God has answered my prayers. So for me, I'm just happy housewife. I'm enjoying my life here. Yeah.
So in terms of the lifestyle, I always say, so if I go and live overseas, guys, like
yes,
like
no,
like
yeah, there's some kind of compromise archer that we discovered.
Not mango archer.
Yeah.
You know, list from South Africa. So Acha is one of them.
Yes.
Bull brand is another.
Oros.
Bull brandy and then the baked beans and then boerewors.
Yeah, and
Oros.
Yeah, and
wait,
the Oros, yeah.
Yeah, libupi.
Yeah, like libupi.
Yeah, libupi, yeah.
But do you ever grow a palette or a different palette in terms of the jotago ulingote? Or you guys just thought, hey, Roger said sitting, aranyako jadi mkia, aranyako jadi noha, or were you guys open to the diet of wherever you were?
You know, I'll come into this one. I'm very experimental with food and all that. So Rona, we went like full throttle. We went all the way Asian. So now, even when I cook you will see there's a bit of a Asian thing that's got to do with infusion in our cooking. So we did embrace the lifestyle, the food there. I even went as far as finding bupiba ko Beijing. So we were based in Beijing. Bupiba thing, so sticky, like you have to cook it in a certain way. Not like bupiba rona, 1, 2, 3, it's done.
Yeah.
All sticky, and yeah, you really have to be creative in your cooking.
Sure, and then Lunos and Tabi is the food on that side, is it too different from South Africa?
It is.
Yes, it is. It is.
So like embrace, or you're like because we know where the yeast is coming from.
What I'll say also, is that the food is different. Like here, rice is a staple. It's like us when we're eating pap.
Rice, yeah.
And a rice abanakidi is like your short grains, basmati kind of rice. So they can eat rice for breakfast, lunch, and supper. And also, we have also realized that eggs, everything of their meal, it has an egg. So it will be rice and egg and something for the whole day. It's normal for them. And the other thing, chicken here is very cheap.
Yeah, chicken. Yeah.
So most of their meals, they have chicken, yeah. And then
remember, it's a Muslim country.
Yeah,
so
and also they enjoy pasta. So for us, yeah, in the beginning it was a mission impossible to eat, but we adjusted. But when we went home in June, we were so waiting to eat pap and eat acha, baloney, magui. Yeah, I remember the first 2 weeks.
Aromate with eggs.
Yeah, for first 2 weeks, every day go high. Every day, like every day. Because you know, those things nearly miss, but more the thing, you understand me? And yeah, I mean, right now, we're shopping way of more through our other friends that have been here longer. At least back on South Africa, like your tomato spices. Yeah, spices, ketchup, spices, and so forth. The Mary biscuit, we also can get it.
And eat some
more, yes.
Lemon cream.
Yeah, but the taste, you know, go Africa, the taste it's not going the right way, but it's fine.
It looks like it, but it doesn't taste like it. So maybe Nkwali is asking, no pap, malamukodu, and escopo.
Yeah, malamukodu, we had, there's this friend of ours, the Tefu families, they've been here for longer. We had to go to why did the market? And we went there several times, but because I don't want to tell you the details, but the mask is a 4, Wa ba ignorant. Wa reka so se rekang wa tswa tsamaya.
Yeah.
You understand me? Yeah.
Hey, okay, and then I was Trevor. Kopanyana, go China. Mama, go China to thanks, Kopo, guys. Because one go TV.
Yes. Some, yeah, yes.
No, what's go China? There's this go China culture thing. I'll chop into small pieces, so one.
Yes.
And then by the time I got distance, I can get toothpick. Or these big toothpick things. So night food, I used to enjoy it a lot, but most times you don't know Rojai because sticky sele and pass spicy. It's about but and they're very creative, Kadijo. Extremely creative. I mean, I used to sometimes just go for the night experience where I just go to this market and just test whatever they are selling. And after a while, you get used to it. And it's very interesting tastes from Sichuan type of food to, from different districts. And you learn so much about your palate as well. And as you get used to it, I think Ostata dig a little bit deeper in going into the culture and understanding different foods, different type of soups. Next, I just saw that much. Next, I read saw, but I ended up understanding. Okay, there are different soups, and I think there was one skill this thing barke han bao bao. So han bao bao ke hamburger kas China. Han bao bao. So this guy regular han bao bao. Ke aja anse ke ja ke hey, this thing is tasty. What is it? Are it's S. S. Ha emon.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Donkey.
Oh.
Donkey. Oh, donkey.
Donkey.
Okay. So utlaja donkey, utlaja it's king. Leading well, I'd like to believe like so, but utlaja. Yeah, utlaja.
So Nobile is saying, do you get time to explore the rest of the country, or because of work, you stay in the city where you live in? Have you ever experienced any discrimination?
Yes.
Come again.
Do you get time to explore the rest of the country, or because of work, you just stay in the city you live in? Have you ever experienced discrimination? I think Robert, you said yes. Was it
question.
yes?
I think for me, I was traveling.
Kiro on Trevor.
Yeah, I was saying I traveled through the length and breadth of China and looking for stuff to buy for English. So I went to many cities. Discrimination is there, but to be honest, I didn't see it as racism. I saw it more as somebody seeing somebody as a mona before, and a culture shock or heaven. Because you arrive at the place. I mean, I remember one Chinese guy was telling me that it was so even come meeting, people would be more fascinated about you rather than what you're coming from. And yeah. And now Bana is worse. Saski, maybe you can explain Kabana.
Yeah, in terms of the traveling and all that, Trevor was working, but I wasn't working. So, but I made sure we explore China like to the fullest. But even having said that, he traveled more than us because his line of work expected him to travel. So in terms of discrimination, I also wouldn't, personally, I didn't experience any discrimination, but more of a fascination than anything else. You see, the Chinese are very fascinated about the young boys. And so my son was the center of attention everywhere he went. Their hair, they want to touch, they don't even ask. They just come to you. Gendama, meaning, is this real? And then, they're all over you. And can you imagine your child, he is 4, 5, 6. You know, at home, you don't get such. And all of a sudden, he's swamped by these Chinese people. But I saw the love in them more than anything. And intrigued, can people have such hair? Because I mean, they have straight hair, we have curly hair, and the skin tone, theirs is more yellowish, ours is nice caramelly, you know.
Yeah.
So it's in terms of discrimination, I'm sure it's there, but we didn't really experience it as a people there. We just had too much fun and too much attention.
Thank you. Bra Rob, Loda, did you guys experience discrimination on that side in Malaysia?
Yes, and I agree about travel outside. Yes, you get discrimination, but it's not like racism, because when you get somewhere like I'm working mostly with the foreign ministry of Malaysia. When you go to, I'm based in Kuala Lumpur, the city, then the department to go a city where it's about 70 kilometers out of Kuala Lumpur. So when you go there, you need to go with your driver so that he can translate in Bahasa. Otherwise, if you don't speak Bahasa, they will not even entertain you. And what I've also learned, when you get there, you need to humble yourself. Now I'm a very impatient person by nature, and my wife always told me, "Brah, you must relax," you know. And sometimes I get angry very quickly. But I learned in this 1.5 years that you need to be very patient. And believe me, they will not talk to you until we're good and ready, you know. And yeah, I mean, when we arrived, we went to the malls, and sometimes we'll buy grocery or we'll buy whatever. And this person, maybe not a white person, plastic, then you know. So we learned very quickly. Most of the time we taxi by visa Grab. Grab is like your Uber, you know. But Grab you can take a taxi with it. You can order food. It's like Uber Eats. You can, you know, we do so many things. Grab. Come taxi. Grab. They'll ask you the first question: where are you from? They look at South Africa. Oh, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. You know. Then you'll find other people which are very receptive to you, very warm. South Africa. I mean, my wife has met so many drivers, South Africa, Kilabaya, South Africa, Cape Town, and whatever. And she had, as much as she had bad experience, she also had good experience, you know. Yeah. And then, now, I mean, in my line of work, you get, you know, when these people come to your office, but we apply the visa, they want you to jump for them, you know, or phone, a couple of the requirements, you give him that requirements to apply la visa, or motor okay, or drop application, or drop a visa, within 2 days will phone you. And then the person says, no, I want it now. So those are the things that you are dealing with. And again, what I've also learned is our fellow South Africans, Balmo Malaysia, like Makhoa, but feel privilege. And then I always say to my wife and my family, the only time some of them are South Africans is when they are renewing their passport. But on a normal day, they are not. You understand me? Because when they apply for a passport, right now we are like a post office also. But the requirements, a fee, a passport fee, facilitate everything, application okay. South Africa with what we call a diplomatic bag. Diplomatic bag is we have a contract with DHL Express. Then every month, Romela some documents to South Africa diplomatic bag. Now, when it gets to our office, Coderco, Department of International Relations, Home Affairs into the system. Now, after whatever, let me say, normally a passport in South Africa, you get it in 3 weeks or a month. But when you are in another country, it can take 3 months to 6 months to get it back. You know, because they are not only servicing Malaysia, we have 126 missions in the whole world.
Sure.
And each and every mission, a Romala diplomatic back every day to South Africa, excluding 62 or 61 million people in South Africa. Baba applying passport. You know, you'll find our fellow South Africans, whites, Baba, then they'll motutafuna, then he'll want to take out his frustration on top of you. So yeah, I mean, I had my fair share of confrontations with white people in the office, and I had to put my foot down and tell them that, ma'am or sir, you must realize I'm here to assist you. But if you come and attack me, then it's something else now, you know? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm sure we're not.
Yes.
That's an point actually about fellow South Africans, né?
Yeah.
Because Lena, to be honest, I was enjoying myself in China until one of them officing for some other activity. I think he was a quality manager or something.
Okay.
And suddenly he was the one discriminating against me, come officing. But at least it's that culture.
Yes.
And then starting to teach my China, come officing. No, I'm different to him. Basically, at least at apartheid in the office. So I remember once, you remember there was a picture at beach where there are a lot of black people.
Yes, Mobichi. Yes. December.
Yeah, December. So my picture there, I don't remember what was happening. My picture is sharp. It portrays us like in a very negative.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Then it sent it to the entire office. This is how these people are. Hi man, I couldn't understand why do I have to deal with this thing so far away, you know? And then I called an office meeting and I addressed it directly, you know. Guys, you know, we're coming from South Africa and it looks like Nali, this guy, our issues are not resolved. So don't be shocked. And through dealing with him, then we started sort of finding a way towards each other. But before and they do that until Baba desperate, then they become normal.
I agree, sir.
But yeah, that's just so sad. You can be so far away, living la vida loca. Because what I'm hearing from you guys is that you go there, you embrace the culture, you embrace the differences, you understand that people are fascinated with your melanin, and then someone who comes from the same country as you comes and causes chaos in your place. But anyway, I'm so sorry about that. Monde Dimanda Are. I'm based in Finland. Interesting topic. What I can say in SA, we have the best food. The taste of food here is a taste alike.
I agree. No.
Oh wow, Manda, I'm so sorry. Lulama, are you brave to eat meat in China? Mina, I'm telling you, if I ever go to China, I'm becoming a vegetarian. So maybe let's come back and he says, so, but you know what, Abu Chaban, the funny thing is that even in South Africa, we are one of those people who enjoy eating the benehutes, like malamuchodu, maotwana, and all of that. So I sometimes see it the same way. Like if I'm in China and that's what they eat, it's similar to what we eat. And in the Western culture, it's similar to eating the prawns. If you really think about it, it's no different. It's just that because of our history, we have been acclimatized to think that what we enjoy is substandard, but it's actually not substandard.
No.
You know, it is what we enjoy.
It's actually a delicacy, to be honest. What we eat is actually a delicacy. It's not really substandard. It's, you know, we let other people dictate what's substandard and what's important. But what we eat on is actually a delicacy, you know. Yeah,
absolutely. Even the way we cook, you know, like when Sasa, you just said, Hore, now you have embraced the culture, you go China. That even when you cook, I'm sure a little soy sauce, little MSG. You know?
Yes, I do. The wrong thing. Even the wrong things. I mean, MSG, I mean, it's apparently it's a cancer-causing thing, Mari. Once in a while, but anyway, let me not tell you. MSG is very, it makes the Chinese meal Chinese. You know, your soy, your your ginger, and what I like about that culture in terms of food, it's less spicy in terms of like refined spices. It's everything natural. It's your chili, it's your garlic, it's your ginger. It's you play around with those as your peppercorns, and it's mostly your vegetables. I mean, variety of vegetables there, like bona. You can eat a whole meal of vegetables first only, but different things, all different things, you know.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good culture. It's a beautiful food culture. Even the street food, you get there, you have one kwai, well, so almost equivalent of a rand or a rand and something. You get a beautiful meal, you know. Everybody there eats. I mean, even the poorest of the poor can eat a decent meal. You know, you don't need a lot more to actually nourish yourself. So it's a beautiful culture, I must say. It's truly a beautiful culture.
So I hear you're talking about an amount that is equivalent to a rand, and I think Elsin Tabisem also spoke about money or something. Do you always convert when you buy? The one thing I know is that they convert time. Because when I talk to them, I have to think twice about what time is it there. You know, I have to be wary not to call them at this time because it's 1 o'clock in the morning where they are. So do you guys convert? Every time about our reka, you're like, okay, how many rands is this?
Okay, for 6 months, we used to
convert. We used to convert
when we arrived, but then we were like, no, it's not helping.
Yeah, colleagues told us that, guys, you'll not go anywhere by converting. Because the currency here, they call it Malaysian ringgit. And a ringgit is 4 times more than a rand. So you can just imagine. So the first 6 months we used to, when we go to the mall, hey, you want to, you know, and they told us that, guys, follow him because we don't have a buyer fruit. So right now we are behaving like we are in South Africa. Like the beautiful thing of the city that we are in, there's McDonald's, there's KFC, there's Pizza Hut, there's so many, you know, westernized food. Burger King, yeah, you know. There's Nando's again. So the franchise and Nando's thing, more Malaysia. So although the taste is a little bit different, even McDonald's are very, so many varieties on their menus. But you realize, that the taste is a little bit different, you know. And but conventional saga, no, because there's nothing that you'll buy. So you just buy like you are in South Africa and just ignore the other things, you know. Then when we went home, that's when they started to ask us. That's when we remember to convert other things, you know, because now how 6 months conventionally the cost of rent and and the other currencies.
Sure. So Sanol is asking, what do you appreciate more about your home country after living outside of it? So what do you appreciate now more about South Africa after living outside?
Okay, I can say also, South Africa is a very beautiful country, and its people are very warm, welcoming, and nice people.
And it's clean.
And it's clean, you know. After we have arrived here, maybe after my 8 months, we started to know the other families. Like right now, we've got friends, N Mkhwanazi, Batlabali, Lady Smith. The guy, Bonga, he has lived in Dubai for 12 years. He's an engineer in an oil and gas company, and her wife is a housewife. They've got 3 beautiful kids. We also met Batefu, the gentleman, what in that thing, like an time saying, Kumarova Toto Polquan, Koboil, Nabatana High School about. So then Nabasaitan, Bakopanin, no, Malaysia, somebody, Balmo WhatsApp group, school, somebody are Maratefu, Malaysia, and Tamisu Malaysia. Then Yamata was ba connect. But in times and some hope political. You know that you look at the color, limited less alabana, as a luchudi the no as a popular mara, this guy, you know?
Yeah.
So those are the family barca. Like last week we have this thing barke Safa South African foreign families abroad. is all the South African people which are in a foreign country, the Lefeleta community. So although, yeah, Mkhwanazi in numbers, and every month or so, hopefully an event that is that they are having. Like last week, we celebrated Heritage Day. We went to another restaurant, maybe it's out of Africa. It's owned by another gentleman, Barake David. He's been here for 21 years. He's a South African. So yeah, you know, from time to time we meet and, you know, try to have conversations about South Africa. But you realize all the more, I think our country is beautiful. Yeah, the only thing that is not beautiful about our country, load shedding and other things. Yeah, and that one I don't miss. But the other things is you realize that we have a beautiful country and we are beautiful people as a nation. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think for me, if I may answer, I think there's something about growing up in South Africa and Africa in general, because I think it grows inside of you, you know. So when you're outside of Africa, I think there was no day that passed that I didn't miss home. Like somehow you keep on thinking about home. I don't know. It's always there. So when you arrive home, it's a different feeling. I mean, you know, just entering the hall or Artambo.
Yes.
When you come from abroad, you feel like crying. Like you're overcome with relief, overcome with joy, overcome with just the smell, just the sight of people, you know. You know, I don't know. It's just that empowering, I'm home feeling. So yeah, the only unfortunate thing now, in particular now and of late, I think over the last, maybe I could say 5 years or so, there's been sort of a slight change in the safety aspect, because I mean, when I was in China, it felt so safe, you know. The kids could play, the kids could go everywhere, you know. You never worried too much about what will happen to my wife, what will happen to the kids, and so. But lately in South Africa, so a little bit, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you don't relax as much as you used to. You know, you're always double checking and making sure that everything is okay. So that is. But I must say, South Africa is wonderful.
Thank you.
No
Thank
place
you so much.
better than home.
I know. I think even that's why the taste of food is different outside, because there really is no place like home. So I think in the last minute, if we have someone like Silal who wants to live in Switzerland or in the Netherlands or in Finland, as Umonde is saying, what should I do? What should one do? Because what does one have to do if they want to live in a foreign country?
Okay, thank you also, Lailo. I always tell friends, Jorge, to live abroad is very nice. However, there's pros and cons. First and foremost, like what Abu Trevor did, do your homework about the country.
Yeah.
That's number one. Make sure that you meet all the requirements, like the visa and other things. And if you are coming to a foreign country, make sure in DERCO, my headquarter office, we have a consular service section where if you are coming to a country, you need to authenticate or legalize your documents. So the legalization of documents or authenticate can only be done in DERCO, in consular services. You cannot go to police station or passage in Shongwe, certified, and you go with those documents, inspector to be recognized abroad. They will not. So DERCO is the only place that can authenticate or legalize your documents. And DERCO is Officer DERCO ke one fair in South Africa, ke go Pretoria fair. I know any other branches in other provinces. That's number one. Number two, in DERCO consular, we used to have this system by Vita ROSA. ROSA was a system that was designed, but unfortunately it failed. It was designed, it was an online system. Then because it needed a lot of money, our department could not sustain it. Because what you will do, before you no register your particulars, or can I say I'm going to Switzerland, my boarding this airline on this day, then after Switzerland, after 2 weeks, go and present yourself to the nearest mission, embassy or high commission of South Africa. Then after that, that process, Nabapila database of all the South Africans which are living in that particular country. Now, that system failed, unfortunately. We don't have it. However, what I'll advise is that after you have done all these processes, your preparations and so forth, after you arrive in your country where you're going to live, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, go and look for your embassy and present yourselves. Then when you get there, you introduce yourself, and then offer all your particulars, your new number, your country, your address. Should hopefully emergency, we always need to know the head count or how many people do we have in that particular country. Because now, from time to time, you'll get people that do not come and present themselves in the embassy. Then when they are jailed, then you start to hear from them when a prison authority or a Minister of Foreign Affairs, Balromela, letter to say that, for instance, what is present. And now you have to do a consular service where we need to, get information on guy and retry within a month to come and visit or really Zoom. So, I always tell people that do your homework before you go to a particular country. Make sure that you meet the minimum requirement. When you get there, as soon as possible, go and present yourself to your nearest embassy or high commission. The other thing, when you get to the embassy, you must ask if there's any communities, South African community or Africa community, because like what Brother Trevor said, when you are abroad, you start to, get closer to our African brothers and sisters, because you realize, hey, these are the only nearest to us, so you need to that community. So that again, the experience is too much hectic, So the other things, simple things also, passport, how we apply in South Africa, you get a Mexi passport, I think it's 10 years or so. I think all of the passport get 10 years.
Yes.
But finally, an ordinary passport, a Mexi passport. A Mexi passport in more pages, especially like Brad Trevor Narato travel a lot. So by reason for Baraton travel a lot, because I'm about temper immigration on sometimes passport out, Okra passport out since 10 years, 8 years to go. Mara page I local. Now, the other thing, you must make sure that you apply for a renewal of your passport a year in advance before my page atala or passport expire. I'll tell you why. You cannot, airlines and the countries will not allow you who can have a passport or in less than 6 months on it. Or my page my page you are in trouble. You understand me? Now, you remember I alluded earlier that our process when you apply for a passport from the country to home and coming back, it can take 3 months to 6 months or more to get that passport. I had a gentleman that applied for a passport last year, March. He only got it right now in July this year. After we have written so many emails, phoned Home Affairs, and when you phone, they don't reply to you. They don't answer your calls. Go with cell phones. Go with telephone line. Telephone line is west. Go with mobile cell phone. They will not even reply. Hormonal email or the tracker. But the red. Mara, the person will just ignore you. So I always tell people, when you see that your passport pages are going, although passport now Cincinnati you must make sure that before Ufika go 2 pages, apply for another passport in time. Yeah, and then the other thing happen also, a very important thing. When you're in a foreign country, make sure you travel with your passport every day on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or make copies of your passport. We can say embassy certify copy. Because believe me, Maponesa amo the foreign countries, they're not as sweet or as understanding. But now they don't care about the foreigner. And they'll deal with you. Passport also then they'll try to push they'll arrest you. They are very quick to arrest, you know. So I always tell people, make sure if you want to protect your passport, make copies of all the pages in the passport. Register when embassy certified. What's a buga every day. How about like right now? Really diplomatic card, diplomatic ID, like Costa Africa or ID card. Ne? However, can I driver's license I converted, can I Malaysian driver's license? And sometimes when we drive car weekend, because we have just bought a car. When we drive car weekend, I always tell my wife, bring the passports along, because other people have told us, hey, when can we see it, cancer driver's license, cancer card, but they still wanted more. Then you understand me? So those are the things that you need to always guard against, you know. And again, when you're in a foreign country, make sure at all places, like in Kuala Lumpur, is the safest city. Although only pockets of other small city are relatively dangerous. Yeah, Kuala Lumpur, you can leave your phone for restauranting, and tomorrow you come and get it for restauranting. Sure. You know, you can sit down for dinner with your family and put your wallet here and go to the toilet and come back. It will be here. You know, so I agree with what Brother was saying. No, really high. I was a little bit, you know, because I knew how hectic. So, you know, you need to buy a fruit because my but here, Osaka, when we arrived, we learned to Rahman. This is a very easygoing people are relaxed. People are they do their own business. Yeah, and
and even in school, there is no bullying like South Africa.
But I think bullying is a global thing, because if you listen to Europe as well, there's bullying in Europe. I mean, in the US, there's bullying in schools. So I think it's just a horrible or a negative global phenomenon, bullying. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much, guys, for first of all, for taking the time to come and talk to us about the pleasures, both the pros and the cons of living abroad. Maybe before we leave, Trevor, Lisasa, do you guys plan on going away? Do you plan on maybe living abroad or taking another stint to go back, or
you know what, we're talking about it. I load shedding, I think. Maybe path, you know.
So you thought I Rasamai?
No, there's always that possibility. There's always that possibility. It's not a yes or no.
I know. I think that the bag of traveling, once it bites you, you know, you're hooked. Bro Robert, saying, how long do you plan to be in Malaysia? You convert the driver's license, the ID.
On 4 years posting or 4 years mission. We arrived here last year, 2021, and we are due to go back home 15th December 2024.
Okay.
But you know, as much as department will give you that period, or you are here for 4 years or whatever. But sometimes, because of circumstances, they can extend your posting maybe 6 months or a year, depending on the situation on the ground. Like right now, when I came, about 3 of our colleagues, even my boss, my High Commissioner, Mr. Malcolmson, we arrived at the same time, and we are due to go back at 2024, all of us. But naturally, the department would not allow the 3 of you to go same time back. You know, maybe 1 or 2 can remain, because we need that, you know, for 1 or 2 colleagues to, you know, carry over that baton and make sure that that smooth transition between the old colleagues and the new colleagues. But yeah, in posting every 4 years in our embassies, there'll be new colleagues. So we have what we call LRPs, local recruit personnel. They always say to us, hey, we you know, every 4 years we know we've got a new boss, you know.
Yeah.
And those are the people that you must respect, because those are the people panel institutional knowledge and memories about your department or your mission. And those are the people that can make your job to be easier or break you, you know. Maybe Bratreva can also come in, because locals, you need them more than you need for you to survive in this foreign country. Yes.
No, but thank you so much. There's another conversation that's happening now at 7 o'clock, and I see we have taken already 6 minutes of their time. So friends, thank you. I think you've given us enough information. We know the good side of living abroad and the bad side of living abroad. We also know the comparisons, you know, especially Dijo. Some of us, you know, so you're preparing us. In terms of what to expect should that particular time come. And also thank you, Robert, for giving us the lowdown of what to do when that time comes, you know, because you don't want to be on the wrong side of the law in a foreign country. You know, I always watch people who are arrested in foreign countries, and I'm thinking, did they not know? But sometimes I think you take things for granted because you're thinking, no, this country's safe, this country's this, and therefore what's the worst that can happen? And sometimes the worst does happen. So thank you so much. I really wish all of you well. Should that time come for you to go somewhere else, let me know where you're going, and then I'll come back. And I would be saying thank you so much. Should that time come after 4 years, if it really is your heart's desire to come back, I hope that you come back. But if you really have hopes and dreams of staying, I hope that your stay also continues to be a gracious one and a wonderful one. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Friends, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for bringing all the questions and the queries on our Facebook page. And I really hope that now we are well versed and we know a little bit better about what it takes to live in a foreign country. But like they said, there's no place like home. So friends, good night and God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.